Cool new card offers have arrived. Other ones are going away. The Business Platinum is changing soon. Should you get it now? Plus my upcoming trip to Asia. All of that coming up right now on MTM Travel.
In Mark's meetup voice.
So, Mark, welcome back from your seminar voice, Minneapolis. You were just telling me offline how much you love the Twin Cities.
No, I found out, our friend Kristen lives in the area, and I found out, I didn't know this, but there's like a big thing. If you grew up in Minneapolis or in St. Paul, like they don't go across the border of those cities to each other, like, which is so weird. They're like a few miles apart. You can ride the train, I believe, from one to the other in a couple minutes. And I'm like, so like, nobody's like, oh, do you want to go to St. Paul tonight for dinner or whatever, if they're from Minneapolis? She's like, no, it's like a whole thing. If you grew up there, like there's a line drawn in the sand and you don't cross. And I thought that was so strange. And then I guess everybody else assumes that you grew up there if you live there. So they're like, oh, are you from here? You're like, no, I'm from, or something like that. They ask the question. They're like, oh, you're from over there? No, I'm from Michigan. Like,
That's funny. I think the only time I've ever been to St. Paul was the first time I ever saw the Mississippi River when I went like 15, 20 years ago to see Packers Vikings. Saw the river there, but we drove across, saw this incredible church in St. Paul, old Catholic church that hundreds of years old. You don't really see churches like that in a lot of cities in the U.S. So I remember that being cool. But other than that, on many trips to the area, and I have not crossed the bridge other than that to go to St. Paul. You think Dallas and Fort Worth are kind of similar?
I don't think so. And they call it Dallas Fort Worth. Like most people just kind of assume it's all one thing. It seems and they call it the Twin Cities, but then they don't commingle at all. So why do we call it the Twin Cities?
Well, the airport is MSP, Minneapolis, St. Paul. So there you go. They get a little bit of it. I don't know, but it's a cool area. They just hate each other. Mall of America. Yes. And the Minnesotans, couldn't say that, don't hate anybody. They're so nice. How could they hate each other?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a good time there. We talked about going there to go to the Mall of America several months ago and riding all those rides. And we did the seminar and, had like 250 people, I think, somewhere in there, which was cool to see, very big. And I was trying to get us to rent out the Mall of America, which I didn't know was a thing, but you can actually do it where you rent out the amusement park after the mall closes. Just the logistics, because we were at the downtown Minneapolis Hyatt and not the one out by the mall. And then the train, I don't think, runs out to the mall at night since it's closed. So it would have been tough to get people back and forth and all of that. But I'm keeping that in my back pocket, something that I'm considering. I figure out a way to do it.
What would be is the cost like crazy for 250 people? Like, it seems like it'd be per person too much for that.
It's a flat fee, and you can bring it up to 750 people. So I don't think it was that bad. I think it was, when we do these seminars, we usually have some type of thing that happens after. Go to a baseball game, rent out an area at the baseball game. I think it was in that same realm of expense. This time we rented out a brewery and had like an open bar for 3 or 4 hours and food trucks and everything. So I think all of that was in the same realm. It's expensive. That's why you need several hundred people to split up the cost of it. But it's not like 40 grand crazy,
Yeah, and it's unique, gives you that sort of perspective. I used to like taking coaster trips for that reason, because you would get to do when the park was closed. And I think it's even more cool for people who aren't into amusement parks or something to have the novelty of that, whether you want to go on the rides or not. Like, anybody's going to enjoy having an amusement park to themselves, even if they're not like an amusement park person. But yeah, I mean, Minneapolis, cool. And we're doing a diamond meetup there next year. So we were just talking before the show how it's become very popular for meetups accidentally because it wasn't cross-referenced or anything. So everybody just loves Minneapolis all of a sudden.
I mean, it does have pretty easy access airport wise, and, a lot of routes coming in and out. So I can see why it is. In the Midwest, it's probably cheaper to host stuff there than Chicago. Detroit's like another option, but it's just somewhat centrally located, a good option for those type of things. And depending on the time of the year, it's nice weather. So it was a little bit hotter than we expected, especially on Sunday. It was over 80 and not very breezy. So that was a downside, but Saturday was very nice, like mid 70s. So kind of perfect for that type of stuff. And yeah, it's just crazy how things just happen. And Everybody ends up at the same spot a couple of years apart. Doesn't make sense. It's just random stuff.
Yeah, our meetup is in early April, and so I'm a little bit crossing my fingers on the weather because that could either end up being a winter wonderland or a beautiful spring. I mean, it should be. It rates to be a decent, nice spring time based on the average temperatures, but it's still going to be a little chilly. And yeah, April, you can get snow, as you probably know.
Yeah. There's a thing here. Anybody that lives in Detroit knows the April and the D commercial because they always have, multiple sports going on. Like hockey's still going, baseball's just starting, basketball's having. So they call it like April and the D, and it's for Fox Sports, I think, does it. And as soon as you said in April, that's the first thing I thought of.
April in the D. How about that? Who knew? So we have some credit card stuff to talk about later. Southwest, those 100K offers going away. Should you pick those up? Are the companion passes, should you even get a companion pass anymore given Southwest? But I'll talk about my trip a little bit first, what I settled on, because I've given pieces of it, I think, over the last couple months. But we're doing Shanghai, Seoul, and then I'm ending in Tokyo, and ended up with a Korean Air business flight going to Shanghai first. So I'm actually connecting in Seoul and then going back to Seoul, which it was beyond my control. That wasn't my ideal way to do it, but it's being done. And just some little regional flights using points like ultimate rewards to buy cash. I shouldn't have done that. I make that mistake all the time. And I'm on Air Premia, which is a Korean Air carrier. I'm very worried about this. I should have just paid cash for it and not used the points because if something goes wrong. So crossing my fingers on that. And yeah, other than that, I found one thing I want to say for people looking in Japan, the last minute availability has been insane. Like every day, like I was looking yesterday for the next 2 weeks out, and just about every day there's business class availability between Japan and the West Coast. So, but for my days, which are just a couple weeks out, I was able to find a business class award on Japan Airlines, 60K American miles to LA. So I booked that, and I'm going to try to find something better that gets me the flight to Vegas, but not a huge deal there. So that's set to come back. I'm expecting I might do ANA first if I can find a good routing on that coming back. They seem to be releasing some space on that. And I think Japan is pretty wide open, though, which is good for everybody who wants to go there. If you're looking sort of last minute, and then obviously ANA and JAL both tend to release a lot of a space when they open up their schedules as well.
Yeah, I think, as popular as Japan has been the last few years, probably like the one destination everybody's trying to get to after COVID. It just seems like there's high demand there, and it's gotten a little bit crazy, but it's nice to see they're still releasing space. And then what is it? Hawaiian is flying. They just started or going to be starting up that route out of Seattle into, I believe, was it Seoul? I think it was South Korea. And that, they have a sale for that for the next couple months. I don't know if it's still going on, but it was happening last week, where you could get a business class seat for, I believe, 75K. It's normally going to be 150K. Hawaiian business isn't the best, I don't think anybody would say, but that's another thing. Like, it just seems like more and more stuff is opening up. But your trip is Connor's dream trip. That's what my son wants to do. I'm trying to take, each of them on their dream trip for their 16th birthday is the plan. And that's, very similar to what he decided for his.
So a few other like follow-ups. My passport, I did the online passport renewal. I had talked about what the timings were, and people had chimed in saying it was pretty quick. It took less. So what's weird is when you do the passport, it takes a few days for the payment to process. And I guess I should back up for the picture. I'm a little embarrassed by this, but I don't know the name of the app. I'll try to put it in the description. I was in a hurry. I was, running up on my time limit, very paranoid. And instead of trying to do the picture myself and all that, I downloaded one of those apps which uses AI. So you can just take a picture of yourself and it'll put the white background in. It'll make sure it's right. They also verify the picture. They have a human verify it to make sure it's the way it's supposed to be. And so they guarantee you a refund if it doesn't go through or whatever. So that was like $15. I've done it before myself, so I would recommend doing that if you had the time. I was just in a hurry. But it took about 3 days to process the payment, so it just sits there. I guess they're waiting to make sure that the actual payment clears completely. And then it was 2 days, Mark, after that it processed, and then I had it 2 days later. So it was like 8 actual days, I think, from the time I did it to the time I had my new passport. There's no rush on it. You're not paying for the expedited. You're not allowed to, in fact. So yeah, it worked out as good as could be expected.
I mean, the government became efficient somehow. I don't know what changed that. But this is what everybody's been saying, and it's kind of amazing. This is the way it should work, especially on a renewal. Like you already have all the info and everything. You're just basically re-upping, updating a photo, making a payment. They're just collecting money and making sure you don't look 20 years younger than than you currently are. But I'm lazy. I just go to CVS, pay that expensive. I don't know, remember what it was, like $25 or whatever it is. I just pay, get it printed right that day, be done.
Well, you don't need one printed now, so that's good. I've done that in the past though, where I did it used an app to be cheap instead of having CVS take it, used an app, and then had it printed at Walgreens and then used that picture. So I've done all those sorts of things. I will say it hurt me to pay the $15 for the app, but it took me 3 minutes instead of having to like. No, I mean, it was a decision I made, Mark. So, I mean, ultimately, I made the right choice. I'm like, all right, this is something that you want to get done in this second. I don't want to have to go run and get a picture taken, the digital version. I don't want to worry about, I don't have like a pure white wall. I don't want to worry that it's not white enough. I don't want to have to go into Photoshop and figure it out. So it really worked as expected. So I think it was worth the $15 if you don't mind paying that. And yeah, good stuff on all of that. Very happy with the passport. Hotel wise, I was going to say something about Japan. You talked about the big boom that's there the last couple of years. Cash prices of hotels have come down quite a bit, certainly in the luxury market and in some of these high demand areas. So now we're seeing like Hyatt has just jacked up their award prices, and some of the other programs have as well. Now we're starting to see poor value in Japan when it comes to awards across the board with Hyatt, I would say, on most nights. Even like the Hyatt Regency Tokyo Bay, you're at 1 cent a point, but in many other cases, you're less than that. You're talking 30,000 points for a $300 a night hotel room. This is the problem when cash prices boom, they adjust, and now we're in a different era.
Yeah, and they don't bring those back down even when the cash rate, like the next update is not going to have a whole bunch of properties dropping. So once it goes up, it usually stays up, which is sad. But this is kind of, Derek at Travel on Points just wrote an article this weekend. He was booking a hotel in Scotland, and he went into the edit through Chase with the new Sapphire Reserve and Sapphire Reserve Business. You have that $250 credit if you stay 2 nights. But with that boost, which we didn't know, like when they came out with the boost, they dropped the 1.5 cents guaranteed up for new card members. Old ones, legacy ones have that for a bit. But if a lot of hotels are coming up that are edit hotels, one, you can get the credit. And then 2, you're getting, upwards of 2 cents per point. So even if like a Hyatt ends up in there, which I don't know, I don't have access to edit, so I can't say for sure. But let's say that Hyatt's in there for $300, you can get 2 cents per point, not transferring to Hyatt, booking it that way. We'll have to see how the elite nights play out and everything. Probably won't track. Maybe it does. If it works like FHR, the assumption is that you will still get all of that stuff. But I can't say for sure because I haven't used it. But if that's the case, then as the cash rates come down, that's a really good option for people.
Yeah, this is going to have an effect on the value of points too. If you look over the long term, if they're pricing at these cash prices that don't exist. Now, we don't know. Maybe this sort of lull in the travel industry will change and we'll have a boom again and the prices will be back where they were. But I feel like with Hyatt specifically, a lot of people in these markets are going to struggle to find any value that makes them feel good. And I think the advice would be burn the points that you want to burn, whether the value is quite right there, or, use alternative methods like you said, or, the edit, even if you don't get the credit, probably worth it if you're getting that value compared to 1 cent a point going directly through the program. You could do a mattress run, take some of the cash, do a mattress run, book through the edit, and you still come out ahead if that's the way the numbers work. So I don't know, a little bit more of figuring out there. I still haven't figured out my one night in Tokyo that we're going to share. My friend, he's trying to save, our friend Dave, he's trying to save some sites for when he visits with his wife and doesn't want to see stuff. So we'll figure all of that stuff out. And that's why I'm doing Disney by myself at the end, Tokyo Disneyland by myself, which I'm looking very forward to. I've never been there by myself.
I know, then you don't have to worry about who wants to ride what. You just kind of go where you want to go, be a little bit quicker, single rider line, skipping all that stuff. So I can see why that would be intriguing, but it's just funny that I'm a worse person than Dave. So I'd be like, well, I'll go back with you, but I'm going to go while I'm there.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but it's different spouses, different relationships. And I think our wives are used to, we wouldn't sort of be doing what we're doing, I think, if we were restricted in that way. And when I do something by myself and I really enjoy it, then I get even more joy bringing somebody back with me there, and that's always a lot of fun. So I never see it in that way. But when it's a bucket list, I totally get it though. It's a bucket list thing for her and experiencing it. And then our trip wasn't supposed to end in Japan, but it sort of did. And so I totally understand that. So one night in Tokyo for him. I don't know what I'm going to show him, but I'll make it fun.
You guys should go to the Samurai Bar. That's where I want to go. Have you seen
I
those
don't.
videos?
Okay. No. So there we go. I'll have to look about that. I was thinking maybe robot restaurant. So there's some interesting stuff.
That'd be cool
Of course,
too.
we're gonna ride some coasters there as well. Last thing on mainland China. Since I was there the last time in 2019, I've been to Hong Kong since COVID and all of that, but I hadn't been into mainland China. WePay and Alipay, those are the big payment apps there, and they used to be very difficult for a Westerner to get access to. Like back in, I think the last time I was there, you could get the Hong Kong version of the app, and maybe it would work, maybe it wouldn't. That's all changed now, so you can download these apps before you go. Obviously, they track a lot of data, like a lot of apps do these days, but you can do that. Link your Western credit card. I already have my credit cards linked, so when I'm there, you should be able to pay. Because for people who don't know, credit cards not widely accepted anymore in mainland China, and cash not really loved there as much anymore. So you just get a QR code on your app. You scan that when you're paying. It's a beautiful system. In fact, it's pennies on the dollar compared to what our payment system here costs. But you don't get credit card rewards.
Yeah, who cares? We need our rewards.
But I'm excited. Everything's in the app. You get DD, so we should have. These are things that were more of a, getting a taxi in China. My first time in China, 2008. Before technology, for the most part, before you had cell phones, smartphones everywhere. So I learned how to navigate there, but it can be difficult. And now technology has made it easy. You'll have DD is their version of Uber. That's right in the payment app, so you can call your ride shares now. You don't have to worry about having a taxi driver understand where you're going, anything like that. So it feels like it's a new world. I'm really excited to try out the technology there and see how it compares to here, because all we do is see those videos on TikTok about how China's in the future, and I've seen that a little bit before, but I'll see how it is now 6 years later.
Yeah, I'm excited to get some reports back and see what you enjoyed and what's changed since the last time you were there. And similar when I went to Thailand, I forget what the apps were. It was like Grab and Fetch or some something like that for their car ride services. So it's just unique that everywhere you go, you always assume like Uber's everywhere, but they're not. There are a lot of places, but they're not everywhere. And depending on where you go, just do your research.
Yeah, for sure. But let's talk credit cards, and I'll talk more about the trip when I get back. But let's talk Amex Platinum. We've been talking for months about the rumors of a refresh for Platinum coming by the end of September. So we are expecting that to come very soon. Along with it, a higher annual fee, rumored to be $895. Again, none of this is confirmed yet, but a lot of leaks, a lot of rumors have come, some new credits coming. A lot of math is going to have to be done to figure out if this card is worth it at that fee. The big question I guess people are asking, Mark, should they get the card now before it comes out refreshed in a few weeks or whenever it does?
Yeah, I got to write up an article about this on the website and just kind of work through it a bit. We're going to work through it a bit here and discuss it because, a couple days ago I was thinking like, okay, anytime a new card launches or a refresh happens, I should say, anytime that happens, it creates a bit of opportunity potentially, especially for people that already have the card. They're like, all right, I get like another 6 months, 4 months, however long you have before the next annual fee hits to use these increased perks, these new credits, whatever they are. That's cool. But if you think it's coming, should you sign up before to lock in the lower rate and then you still get the new stuff? And the downside is, do they come out with an increased offer or something way better? We saw that with the Chase Sapphire Reserve when it came out. Everybody's like, oh, do I grab it and lock in this lower rate? And then the offer kind of blew up from there and went quite a bit higher. So it was like, oh, should have just paid the extra $200 a year or whatever. So we're kind of in that same boat. It's tempting if you could get like a $200K plus offer to show up, then maybe you try to grab it and save a couple $100 on the annual fee. But I'm starting to lean towards wait it out, see what it comes at. If the offer is like really, really high, maybe jump on it. But maybe you just wait a couple months and do the triple dip in December, and you're getting these credits. Some of them 3 times, some of them 5 times, 6, whatever it is. But you're getting more value that way, and potentially you still could get a higher sign-up bonus if it is a higher sign-up bonus, or you have time to figure that out. But I still think triple dip is the best option with Amex cards that have these credits. and it's not too far away. So maybe we just wait. What do you think?
Have my line of thinking is exactly the same. So for people who don't know the triple dip, you can get the card late in the year, let's say in December, then you could get the credits, the annual credits, but even the quarterly credits, like what you're saying in that quarter, that year, and then you get it for the next year, 26, but then your annual fee will come up in December and you have 30-day grace period on that. So you could potentially get the credits again in 27, or if it's a quarterly credit in that first quarter of 27, which I think if you add up all the value for that, and we don't know what the what all the details of these credits are, but it is rumored that the incidental credit is going to stick around, and that's one of the big credits that you could triple dip. But I think that the opportunity to triple dip will outweigh the value of getting it now, and then you could see the card. You could see, okay, what are the credits they're going to offer? Is this going to work for me? You know, how would I use this? How would I use that? Because all of these rumors say it's not just 2 credits or 3 credits like before. There's going to be a wider range of credits. Hopefully, you know, we see them make credits better. Hopefully, we see them make this product better for you. But I would wait, figure it out. And I think the triple dip, just wait a little bit. Even if we don't see a giant offer off the bat, we might see no lifetime language offers, but we may see targeted offers as well, which is something Amex is huge with. So yeah, 250, 300. Come on, Amex, give it to us.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it go as high as 350K, I think, now in those targeted offers, which is insane. People used to fall over themselves for 100K. So it's crazy how high we've gotten there. So there's a guarantee, though, in December, there's a guarantee that you can maximize those credits, use them more. So I think I would go with that versus trying to save a couple $100 on the annual fee signing up now. And we should mention there's no family credit or family rules. So if you've never had the Biz Plat or Biz Gold, you can still get the Biz Plat, and then you can go get the Biz Gold later. It's not like the personal cards where if you jump right to the top tier, you screw yourself out of all the other ones. So that's good. It's not a 524 card. It won't impact your 524. So that's another, feather in the cap for this. But I do think riding it out, waiting till December 10th, December 15th, something like that, and then grabbing it then is the way to go.
Yeah, my other argument for that being Amex is so good with their targeted offers, with their marketing, that this is a big push. We've seen this being the year of the premium cards and all that Chase went through. And then the week that Chase was launching the new Sapphire Reserve, Amex came out with that press release saying, we're refreshing the Platinum cards later this year. And so they're playing this whole long game. So I would expect that there's a decent marketing budget. I think that it's reasonable to say, oh, maybe I'll get a better offer coming too. So I think that's something else to sort of, first off, we know that they've sent out crazy offers on this particular card before. We also know they're refreshing it and they're trying to get this marketing blitz. So it would make a lot of sense for them to go to their best customers or the ones that they deem to be good to say, hey, pick this up. But that may not happen right away either. So that's another reason, maybe wait a couple months. But I mean, I don't think there's a wrong answer. You could still come out ahead, but it's what, 150K is the public offer right now. I find it hard to believe you're not going to be able to do that well within the next few months.
Yeah, and you think about this: if you're saving $200 on the annual fee, that's only 20,000, a little bit less than 20,000 membership rewards if you have the Charles Schwab Platinum, and you might not, but that's the way we should look at this. Think of this: do you think there's a better chance that the offer goes from 150K to 175K, or I doubt that they're going to do this refresh, increase the fee, and leave the public offer at 150K. So I think right there, there's a good opportunity or a good possibility that the offer goes up more than the $200 you would save.
Agreed. And let us know down in the comments what you guys think about it. But I don't see any reason to rush out and get this, especially with the big outlay up front. Make sure it's working for you. Make sure you're doing good. Plus, yeah, triple dip, maybe even better with new credits, better than in the past, because you may have more opportunity across different benefits to do the triple dip.
I have a good story from you from this weekend. So we were talking about the Lululemon credit, and I will not name him, but it's hilarious. And as soon as I tell you off air who it was, you'll be like, oh yeah, totally tracks. But talking about the Lululemon credits, and I'm like, oh, my daughter's going to love this. She's obsessed with Lululemon. Makes Christmas shopping a lot easier. I'm just going to go buy a gift card and stack them or whatever and let her go shopping, that type of thing. And he's like, is this those stupid little furry troll things that people have on keychains now or whatever?
Lulu, I mean, Labubu, Lululemon. I can see it. We should be clear. We don't know that there's a Lululemon credit, right? That's
Yeah,
what everybody's gonna
it
be
might be
heartbroken if
Labubu.
that doesn't actually come.
It might
A
be
Labubu
Labubu
credit.
credit. Who knows?
That would be amazing. But Chase is feeling left out. Let's talk Chase. The Ink Unlimited card and the Ink Cash card have increased offers. Usually it's $750 is the welcome offer. That has been the normal one. Now it's up to $900 or 90,000 points if you have another premium Ultimate Rewards card, which most of us probably do. So 90,000 points. Good thing about this card, no annual fee. I mean, that's really good. 5x office supplies. So this is the simplest card, or well, they're both simple cards, right? The unlimited 1.5%, 1.5x everywhere. The cash, you have some 5x categories, no annual fee on either one. These are great deals. I mean, it's a little harder to get approved with Chase, but if you are in the game and this is something that works for you, I mean, easy sign up and pretty lucrative cards. I mean, I've had my Ink Cashes and put them to great work over the years.
Yeah, in cash, I think, is a lot of people's favorite business card out there, regardless of annual fee or no annual fee. And yes, you do need a Chase card with an annual fee to unlock that cash back to turn it into Ultimate Rewards points. But most people have a Sapphire Reserved, Sapphire Preferred, or an Ink Preferred, maybe a Sapphire Reserve for business. So if you have one of those, pair it up with these. And if you don't have one of those yet and you get one of these, just sit on the points until you do get one of the other ones. And then you can kind of unlock it there. Or if you have a Freedom and you've had a Sapphire Preferred in the past, you could always upgrade, stuff like that. So there's options. But, $90K for $6,000 in spend is pretty great. I think this is as high as the offers have ever been. They've been here before, but it's good to see them back. And you can't go wrong with either card. I would lean Ink Cash if you don't have either, just because those 5 times categories works for a lot of streaming stuff, office stores. There's gas, you earn 2x on gas. So there are some good potentials there. And, that's the best way to rack up Ultimate Rewards is in 5 times categories. That's why we always say, get as many Freedom cards as you can get. Same with Ink Cashes.
Yeah, I agree. And you can do the 1.5x, elsewhere with that. And this is just a better thing. The other thing that they've added to these, I don't remember when they added this, but it didn't used to have it, the 0% APR for 12 months for purchases, which I think can be good for businesses. Obviously, cash flow, what you're trying to do, different other plays. I mean, 12 months is a decent amount of time. There was a day when interest rates were higher than they are today, where people would take these 0% APR offers, max out the card, put the cash in the bank, take the interest for a year, pay it off, and move on. I don't know if the economics, I haven't looked into the economics of that right now. I don't know if rates are quite that high, but certainly getting that free cash flow can be a nice little side benefit for everything else. And no fee. It's almost free money. I mean, Chase would hate me saying that, but it's almost free money.
Yeah, it is. It's a great offer. It's just, if you don't have it, get it. I can't say anything else about it. It's as good as it's ever been. So now's the time. And you can't go wrong with either card. And then after the year, let's say you already have the Ink Cash, so you go for the Ink Unlimited. After the year, you can product change that into another Ink Cash. So now you'll have 2, similar to like the Freedom setups and downgrades and all that stuff. So that's kind of the way. I wouldn't sign up for multiples of the same cards. In the past, maybe that wasn't an issue or a problem. Now the approvals seem to be a bit tougher going that route.
So staying with Chase, let's talk the Southwest card offers, the 100K offer they currently have. That is ending on September 18th in the morning. So just imagine September 17th. That's your sort of cutoff to get it. And this goes across all 3 cards, 100,000 rapid rewards points after 4,000 spent in 5 months. I wanted to talk about this because I think we did mention this before when we talked about these card offers, but I like this, that they're giving them a little bit more time. It's not a crazy amount of spend. This is very approachable in that way.
They're basically lining this up, begging you to get a companion pass because you need 125K. You get that 10,000 point reduction for having the credit card. So drops it down to 125K. You have to earn it in a year. So that means you want the points to post as early in the year as possible. So you're trying to line this up that they post in January. And, normally they only give you 3 months. So this wouldn't quite work out if they did that. So they gave 5 months, which is like, oh, they're doing this on purpose. So that's cool to see that they're okay with it. Now, I can't say this enough. Somebody always messes this up. Actually, lots of somebodies. But don't finish your spend. Don't even get close to finishing your spend until a minimum your December statement closes. I would even wait until January 1st just to be safe. Don't be like, oh, I'll get within 500, make it easy. No, because something's going to auto bill, or you're going to pull out the wrong card one time. You're going to forget about it, and you're going to go over, and you're going to get the points hit in 2025, and then you're not going to get the companion pass, or you're only going to get it for 1 year instead of 2. So leave yourself like a $1,500 cushion, spend up until that, and then do it the rest of the way next year. And then once you earn that bonus, you could either sign up for a business card. You could do that towards the end of this year and just not finish the spend until next year, or you could sign up in the beginning of next year to give you a little breathing room on the spend there, or refer some friends, get those starting next year. Shopping portal, all that stuff, flights. You can get it other ways because you're fairly close, but it's just easiest to get the business card as well.
Yeah, it's nice that you get so close. It's very interesting with the 5 months. I hadn't really thought about that, but your advice even is more true than ever. Like in the past where they had these offers, you had a very small window in January to do the spending before your time was up if you timed it right. They didn't often give you all of January and into February. And if you were to apply today, you're going to get a month and a half after the new year to do it. So it's even less worry now, I would say. Don't even do that spend. Like you said, maybe you can do a little bit of the spend, but don't get too close. But the spend where you're expecting to go over, don't try to time it. Just, wait till January to do it so that it's going to work right and it's going to do all of that for you. Pick the version that works well. But I think your big question is the companion pass still worth it in 2025 going into 26 and 27 with the new airline, with seating assignments coming, with everything else? I still think it's a 2-for-1 ticket, so it's worth it. But I do know in my market in Las Vegas, they're often 5-6 times the price of Frontier and Spirit for the same routes. And I mean, so even if I got 2-for-1, I'm still paying more.
I wrote about this on Miles of Memories years ago. Like the dark side of the companion pass is you force yourself to fly Southwest more, even if it requires a connection where another airline wouldn't. Yeah, you save that second ticket and maybe a couple $100, but you're adding 3 hours to your travel, which what's that worth to you and stuff. And so some people get like laser focused that they only search Southwest because they have the companion pass. That's a downside too. Like you said, there's times Southwest, even with the BOGO flight, is more expensive than just flying another airline. Even the major airlines, like Southwest is the most expensive airline often on my searches. Now, sometimes it's super cheap. It's just random, but this kind of leans you into getting locked in with them, and it's just better to be more free about it. And with them giving this 5-month window, you have to wonder, is this like the last year? Like they're just trying to juice it and get all these people on there, and then do they bring this down? I know we've said this for years and years and years, but with the investors running the company essentially now and all the other negative changes, I can't see that they would think the companion pass is valuable unless maybe they're getting that feedback or they're getting that data that shows people are willing to book more expensive flights because they have the companion pass. So it's worth it to them because they're charging more than double. Kind of like those jewelry sales at Kmart where it's 70% off, but they just jacked it up 80% before they put the sale on.
Mark got a Kmart jewelry reference in, so we know it's a fun show. I totally agree there. It's also an airline that's just inconsistent. You're not going to know what product you're going to get over the next couple of years as they consistently change things and figure out what they are. Like I said, in Vegas, it's funny. We're in two different markets. You're in a market that doesn't have a ton of direct flights, but I'm in a market that does, and they charge out the nose for them. And the reason I gave up on the Southwest Companion Pass and haven't flown them is Frontier Airlines. I'll say that because of all the status matches and their cheap prices. So I was getting all the perks, paying a crazy cheap price. And, even now I have gold status, and that's still pretty good. I get a free bag. I get decent stuff with Frontier. And just for some reason, for the markets I was going to, they were competing in so many of those markets. And, that's how it worked out. I'm in no rush it's a good deal though. It's 100,000. It's a good deal. It's a decent chunk of points. It's going to get you some flights. You get the companion pass that is doubling the value. I know we're going to get into a semantics argument here, but it is doubling the value that you're redeeming for. And I do think that because of that, people forget about all the other economics of it. I know that triggered you. I know you were triggered. That's why
Money
I said
is fungible, Shawn.
No, but I'm saying that it should be looked. It's not a 200,000 point bonus, right? But there is some inherent value to what it's giving you as you redeem those points. But you should not be blind to all the rest of the economics because of that. you can take it away because I know that this is your soapbox, and I phrase it in exactly the way to trigger you.
You can look at it that way. It's technically not the way I would look at it because you're getting that regardless, if you pay cash or book points or whatever. So I wouldn't count it double. There's added value. Um, but there are times you won't fly with a companion. And then Heather at seminars this weekend made a great point. Like, she had been getting the companion pass for years and years. Her and her husband, they have two kids that they fly with. So one kid is each parent's companion. But whenever they go on a trip together, they don't want to like switch around companions. So it's just like, oh, we already have flights booked out with our kids, so we can't change those, and it gets hairy. And then you're taking a flight with just the two of you, and you don't have a companion. So even then, you're screwing yourself a little bit. But I do, as we talk about this, I do think that they're testing this to see, do people become more loyal because of these companion passes? Are they willing to pay more? And are these companion passes, especially if a ton of people jump on it with this 100K offer, are they just going to drive up prices more for everybody else? And like, is this like the worst thing for Southwest flyers that aren't companion pass holders? I don't know. But yeah, the 100,000 points, there's $1,300 worth of value. That alone makes this an interesting offer.
And as you mentioned, I started Miles to Members in 2013, so I've been covering the space since then. And at that time, people said the companion pass is too good to be true. It's going away. And it's been every year since then. But I would caution, as we mentioned, this is not the same Southwest Airlines. So I think your point is very valid. This is an entirely new management direction, a lot of pressure from hedge funds and from the ownership. And we've seen all these crazy changes. So why would we not expect that they're reevaluating the companion pass with whatever data they have? I mean, I always assumed the data was positive, but we also know how backwards Southwest systems were. So maybe they didn't have any data. I don't know. I would not be surprised if this went away, but I've been saying that forever. So I mean,
yeah. And the other thing is, people stay under 524, or one of the two people stay under 524. Or they try. I know our buddy PDX Deals guy would always rotate who drops back under, and so you're giving up all this other stuff that's outside of Chase, that's past Chase, just for this. And it's like, I don't think back in the day the value was there. The flights were super cheap already. Then you're getting a second flight free. It was a better deal. So now it's not as good of a deal. And now you're giving up more. Now we're talking about 250, 300K offers, all this stuff. And yes, those are business cards, so it's not the same. But as these personal cards blow up and everything, there's so much more out there on the table that you're leaving behind just to chase these BOGO connecting flights on the airline.
okay. And he drops the mic. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I will say the last thing I will to defend people who haven't is when we go to meetups, I go to meetups, talk to people. This is the benefit that like a lot of people get into the hobby with this benefit. This is the thing that attracts them. And also for the people who really love it, they get so much joy out of it. You can talk to them. You'll see their face light up and it's so much a part of their life. Like you just said, one of our friends. Yeah, maybe because they rearranged their whole thing in order to get this companion pass, and I did that for a couple years. Ultimately, decided that it wasn't worth it to me. Not that it wasn't a good deal, not that I wasn't getting value from it. Just I wasn't the juice wasn't worth the squeeze for me. But I know, I mean, I think I'm the exception. When I go to meetups, everybody has. I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't have one.
I've flown Southwest. I think I'm flying them in December. For Orlando, because they were just quite a bit cheaper for that route for whatever reason. That's one of our few. I think we have once of a day nonstop flight. So I booked some points there, and I've been sitting with 50,000 points in my account for 2 years now, and now I'm down to like 25,000. So it's like once a year thing. I just don't use them. They're not that beneficial to me, and they never really were. And I did get the companion pass years ago because I got that FOMO. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't like connections. This sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. So just do the math for yourself. You get caught up when you talk to people like that really love it and it's really useful to them. And there are people out there that it is. You think, oh, that transfers onto me, but it doesn't necessarily. So always run your own scenarios, your own thing. Look at a Frontier or, if you're a Delta, compare the prices of the two and then be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't truly 50% off.
Mark, I have one alternative suggestion for people. They could also just get the Chase in cash if they have another card, and then just transfer the 90K to Southwest. There you go.
No,
Does
don't
anybody do that? Yeah, don't do that.
No.
I have to think a lot of people are still doing that to Marriott and to Southwest these days.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's how they pay for us. All the
Yeah.
regular people. Oh, breaks my heart.
but let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about, the card offers. Are you excited for the Platinum? We're excited to find out what these changes finally are, hopefully very soon. And my trip to Asia, I'll talk about that all when I get back. But we will have a show next week talking about miles and points, credit cards, all that good stuff. We do a show every Monday, and also MTM Vegas on our other channel, Tuesdays and Fridays. You can listen, you can watch. Thanks to everybody out there who does both.
Have a good week, everybody. I saw some of those people this weekend.
Bye.
Thank you and enjoy your flight.